Hey, what's up guys, how you all doing? I'm Paul the Tech Giant and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to be unboxing and taking a look at this Denon 7.2 channel AV receiver. Now I just quickly want to say a big thanks to UK electrical retailer Peter Tyson, who are kind enough to send over this amp for testing. So if you're in the market for a new AV receiver, then please go and check out their link in the description. But it's not just AV receivers, they also sell speakers, speaker cables, TVs and loads of other electrical items. Now Peter Tyson have got an amazing Trustpilot score. That's probably down to the fact that they've got great customer service. They also offer free delivery on many items, long warranties and offer finance packages. And with Black Friday just around the corner, they are bound to have some amazing deals on. So please support the company that supports the channel by considering making your next electrical purchase from Peter Tyson. Okie dokie, let's crack on then, and you may notice that I've got the AV receiver sat on a lovely pair of floor standing speakers. Well, in fact, it's a whole 5.1 channel setup, which Peter Tyson have sent over for me to test out with the AV receiver, and I've done a whole dedicated video on those, and I'll put a link to that in the description. So let's first start off then by taking a quick look around the outside of the box. So as we can see, this is the Denon AVR-X1800H. It's a 7.2 channel AV receiver, 8K Ultra HD. Moving up and we can see Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, HDMI, 6-in, 1-out, eARC, 8K video, 4K 120Hz and VRR, HDR10+, phono input and auto calibration and setup assistant. Moving to the top of the box now then, and we've got a right old shopping list going on here. So we have Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, Odyssey, HDMI, 8K Ultra HD, compatible with Dolby Vision, HDR10+, multi-zone, network, HEOS, works with Apple AirPlay, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi certified, high-res audio, room tested, Amazon Music HD, Deezer, Napster, SoundCloud, Spotify, Tidal, TuneIn, works with Alexa, works with Google Home. Now that we've got all that out of the way, let's get this box open. So first off then, we have our remote control. We go through all this stuff as we take it out. There we go, had it upside down. So quite a basic remote, all plastic, all our different functions on there. Looks like it could be backlit as well. We'll find that out once we pop the batteries in. And talking of batteries, it does come supplied with a couple of AAAs. Next up, we have our quick start guide there. Then we have an aerial and some other instructions there. And it looks like some stickers that we can put on our speaker cables. Always very handy to have. Next out of the box, and we have this, which is our microphone to set up the amplifier. I'll be demonstrating this in just a bit. Then I was wondering what these are. Well, this basically a flat pack tower that you can build to put the microphone on to aid with that setup. That is a really good idea. Oh, that's satisfying. And there we go. And the final thing out of the box is the power cable. Let's now take a look around the front of the amp. So we've got the Denon branding going on there, 7 times 45 watts. Then it goes on to tell us what we already know, what we've seen on the outside of the box. Then on the left-hand side, we have our source select, our power button. Got various buttons going along the front there for the tuner, zone, dimmer, status, so on and so forth. We also have inputs there for phones and the setup mic. And just over to the right from that, we also have a USB-A. And on the far right hand side, we have our master volume. And then we have a bit more advertising about what this receiver can do. Moving on round to the back of the amp then, and we have these two antennas here, which I like the fact that they do have little clips, so when you want them out the way, you can just tuck them in like so. Now looking at all the inputs and outputs, so we have audio in, another 2 audio in for cable sat and media player, then we have pre-out for 2 subs, digital audio in, and we have two of those, so TV audio and cable sat. Our network connection, then we have a USB power only, and then we come to our HDMIs. So number one is cable sat, 2 media player, 3 Blu-ray, 4 game, 5 aux1 and 6 aux2. And then we come to our HDMI out, which is marked up at 8K and ARC, EARC. And then finally on the top row, we have the AC in. Moving lower down now then, and we have our signal ground, then our antenna inputs, then we come to our speaker cable connections. Now if you notice, they are all color coded, which then marries up nicely with these stickers. So you'll put these stickers onto your cables and then those cables to the corresponding connections on the back of the amp. I like the fact that that's all done like that. Keeps it nice and simple if you ever have to disconnect and reconnect the wires. So we have speaker connections for our front speakers, center channel, surrounds and surround back. Right, so I've gone on ahead now and I've connected up all these speaker cables to the AV receiver, and as you can see we've now got it powered on. Now one of the cables that I've actually attached is an HDMI. So I've got an HDMI going from the receiver and its EARC port to the EARC HDMI on my TV. Now one of the great things about this is when you initially turn on the receiver and the TV, you get this AV receiver setup assistant, which is great for those who are not so tech savvy. Now if we go to the first step then and see what it has to say, it says verify that you have all the items before continuing. I think that's great. So it says included remote control, battery, setup microphone, microphone stand. That's really good. Moving on to the next page and it says speaker setup. This section walks you through placing and connecting your speakers. Once again, really handy. Next up, it tells us and shows us how to connect up any speaker cables. Again, handy if you're not in the know. Even goes a step further and tells you how to prepare your speaker cables. Now this next part is pretty good because it's going to actually verify that we've got those speakers connected by playing a sound through each of them. Now this next part I think is absolutely amazing. Now back in the day when you set up an AV receiver like this, you would have had to get your tape measure out, measure the distances from the speakers to your seating position and also adjust the levels manually. But these days you get something like this. This is a microphone that is supplied with the receiver, and what we need to do is just pop that in our seating position at ear level and the amplifier will make all the adjustments itself. Now you may be wondering how you get it to ear level. Well, we were supplied with this. Yes, this is that flat pack piece of cardboard that we've seen earlier, and then you make up what looks like a rocket ship, which can be adjusted to different heights depending on if you're maybe putting it on a sofa like that, or maybe on the floor. And then all we have to do is get our microphone and pop it on top. I've now got the microphone set up in its correct position, also hooked up to the AV receiver, and we did get a notification on the screen telling us that we will have to move it around to 8 different positions. So all we have to do now is hit begin test. Now you would have just heard those test tones playing from the speakers, and I've deliberately wired up one of the speakers incorrectly, just to show you how clever the system is. So if we go to the screen, it actually shows us, yes, we have wired up one of the speakers incorrectly. So again, if you're not in the know, it's great that it helps you out. Well, that's all the speakers now set up, and I've got to say that was so simple to do, a child could do it. Now, because we have the receiver connected via HDMI to the TV, there's no point in me showing you all these settings on the receiver itself, because of course we get it all displayed on the TV, which is just far easier. So at a simple press of a button, we can now get up our menus on the screen. So we've got things like the audio here, the video, inputs, speakers. So you can really go to town on all the settings and stuff like that. Now, if I just jump into one of the settings a minute, I just want to show you how easy it is to actually use this AV receiver. So if I go to subwoofer output, they actually show us on here what we are doing. So if we go to the low frequency effect, it shows us there how the bass is going to be produced, and we can change that to LFE and main, so that's low frequency effect, plus the main speakers there, and it will show us that it will also divert the bass down to the sub. I just love how simple this is for the average person on the street. You don't have to be a full-on audiophile. Now, one of the other great features about having the receiver connected up to the TV via HDMI, if you have a compatible TV that is if you turn on the TV with your TV's remote control, like so, the receiver actually turns on itself. And with this TV, it actually says Denon soundbar. Now, what about when it comes to turning off the receiver? Will it work in reverse? Well, yes, it will. So if we grab the TV's remote, turn it off, there we go, both turn off. Again, when it comes to the volume control, I can use a TV's remote. So if I press on the volume up, and this is an LG G4 OLED, you'll notice that it is actually turning it up and down on the receiver. And mute also works. Now, I can hear you saying out there, what about if you just want to listen to whatever it is through the TV itself and it's turned on the receiver? Well, simply turn off the receiver with the remote control and the TV will simply go back to normal through outputting the sound through its speakers. Now let's get to the part that you've all been waiting for, actually testing out this receiver. So I'm going to play a number of movie clips, turn it up a bit, see how loud it will go, and please just bear in mind that obviously you're not going to get the full effect through your speaker on whatever device you are listening to this on, but what I will do is give you just a quick rundown of what I was hearing myself, and of course I have previously demoed this anyway, so I know exactly what this thing is capable of, and trust me, it is banging.
And I'll blow your house in. Here's Johnny.
Wow, now that is what I call impressive. Like I said, you wouldn't have got the full experience at home, but in person, that was mind-blowing. Now, of course, the speakers had a lot to do with what I and you were hearing, but I did previously test out these speakers with my own amplifier, which is a few years old, and I can honestly say that this Denon amp really ups the game. Now, I've tested out the receiver with a number of movies, and each and every time it absolutely blew me away. Now, I thought with my previous amp and these speakers, the soundstage was good, but this time it was even better. The way that the sounds moved around the room was much improved, and at times it was so convincing that I thought that some of the sounds were actually happening outside the house. But after rewinding parts of the movie, I then realised it was actually coming through the speakers. So it just goes to show how good the processing is on this AV receiver. Now, when it comes to the volume levels, as you probably heard, it does not disappoint. It goes silly loud. To the point, if you're going to play it at that volume, really you need a fully detached house, because at those sort of sound levels, your neighbours are definitely going to be complaining if they are immediately next door. Now, as you would have seen, I also tested some music out, and I've done some more behind the scenes testing with music myself. And again, it is pretty impressive. I've heard better with dedicated 2-channel amplifiers, but for an all-in-one amplifier, I think it's good enough for the average person. Now, putting aside the sound of the receiver, what I'd say really is good is the ease it is to set up. Now, I know a lot of people out there are a bit put off by buying separate speakers and receivers, or the setup process can be a bit daunting. But honest to God, it is just so easy to do with all those step-by-step guides on screen, giving you graphics, giving you text. At every step of the way, it helps you along. And there you have it then, guys. Now, if you are impressed with what you've seen and heard in this video, then you can pick up both the AV receiver and speakers from Peter Tyson, and I'll put a link to them in the description. Now, do us a favour, and if you have enjoyed today's video and you want to see more videos like this with receivers and speakers, then please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you already haven't, and hopefully I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Bye for now.